I am incredible. How are you? I'm getting my energy up. It's a lot going on out here. Welcome, welcome, welcome to all of you. All right, we're going to get started yeah, give me, yep, I'm ready. I'm ready. I got a okay, thank you. Welcome, welcome, everybody. We're getting started in just a second.
We're just trying to close up the wealth gap, get to this generational wealth, bet
We're
that.
going to get started.
We're gonna lift
My
off like a jetpack.
lagging today. So we just we're gonna make sure we got it right. So welcome. We're gonna get started. Good morning, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My mic will be going hot in just a second. So I'm tuned into the station. So bear with me this morning. All right. And we're on. Good morning to each and every one of you beautiful people out there. To the folks on the West Coast, of course, good morning. To those of you on the East Coast and in between, I'd like to say good afternoon to you. Welcome to Ahead of the Crypto Curve, where we break down the good, the bad, the ugly, the bullish in the world of cryptocurrency, tailor made for our community specifically. I'm your host, Naja Roberts, and it is my mission in life to lead my people out of financial slavery on this virtual underground railroad. I don't just do this show to change the way you think about money, but to make you change the way you look at money and everything else around you because it absolutely matters. Today is Sunday, June 15th, 2025, and it is Father's Day. And I want to stop and say happy Father's Day to each and every one of you. I just heard it was Ice Cube's birthday today, so and he's 56. Happy birthday to my brother. I appreciate all of you fathers, and happy birthday to those of you that I haven't gotten an opportunity to say happy birthday to this week. We need to really understand that there are so many distractions going on right now. And I just don't even know where to start. Yes, we're going to talk about cryptocurrency, mainly money, but I've been getting phone calls all over the place about all of the distractions that are happening We are okay here in Southern California, Los Angeles specifically, because of all the riots and things that people were seeing on the news. We're okay. I thank you for checking in and checking up on us. We are doing great. If you listened in last Sunday, you were able to hear Tavis and several other fabulous folks talking about what's happening here. And so we appreciate them for preempting and making sure we had that information. It was a really great show. And so this week specifically, I've been getting a lot of calls about what's happening with money in September 2025. So we're in June. So we've got about 3 more months, ladies and gentlemen, before things start to change with money. And I'm going to consistently say to each and every one of you, we have got to ask ourselves why things are happening, not just the issue that we're dealing with or that we're hearing about, but what's around the corner that we're not actually seeing. And so, those are some of the things that you really need to be looking at, asking yourself, why are they doing this? Why are they not doing this? And so, I want to continue to say to you, there are going to be little by little changes, and then all at once. And so the question about what's happening with money, September 25, um, a lot of people are taking it out of context. And when I look on social media has made everybody a guru, and everybody is talking about we're going to central bank digital currencies come September 25th. Ladies and gentlemen, that is absolutely not what is going to happen. So, because the digital currency, really money itself is my space. So, I'm going to help you really understand what you need to do to get yourselves ready and to get your families ready. More importantly, the elderly folks in your family, because a lot of them have got to get a mindset shift. And I'm going to be honest, even in my own family, my own mother, I've had to say, Mom, you don't have to drive to go pay that bill. In fact, I've never driven to pay that bill. You need to pay it online. You don't even need to send a check in the mail. You can just go ahead and take care of that directly on their site, which saves you time, energy, and the money for gas and things like that. But as we talk about actual physical checks and currency, it is not altogether going away. It is going to be a little by little and then all at once. So today, we are going to talk about what actually is going to happen in September of this year, 2025, as it relates to our federal government and what they're going to be doing and who it's going to uh, give or put at a disadvantage immediately, and that's going to be our seniors and our unbanked folks. This is not a central bank digital currency play yet, but I am telling you that is coming. But based on what we're seeing with Doge, which is the Department of Governmental, whatever they're doing in there, efficiency. That's what it is. Department of Government Efficiency. There are a lot of things that they saw or see that we know have been going wrong for a long time. And I'm not condoning the layoffs or anything like that, but there's a lot of things that are not efficient in our federal government. And this has all to do with that. So, ladies and gentlemen, when we come forward, we are going to talk about this year, September, what is going to stop and what we need to do to get our elderly folks together and ready to make sure that they're able to plunge in this digital space. When we come forward, we'll continue the conversation. This is KBLA Talk 1580. All right, y'all. Hopefully you guys are getting this because I am I'm having a rough morning. I had a family reunion yesterday, and I was one of the folks that was preparing and just getting everything ready for us. About that. For those of you that don't know, my birthday is coming up in just 3 weeks, and I have invited you all to come out I've invited you all to come out and celebrate with me in the city of Inglewood. You have to get your tickets online at the Inglewood Music Fest .com, and you have to put my initials in, which is NJR55, so they know that you're coming to my party. And I know how much food to prepare for my friends and family, so make sure you do that. But we're going to be talking back about that, and I'll be putting some more information on social media about that. But the Inglewood Music Festival, I am doing my birthday party in conjunction with that. If you haven't already, reach out. My book is on Amazon, or you can buy it directly from me. But I'll have Queens in Crypto at my birthday party for those who want to purchase one. I'm gonna make that available. I'm just excited. I don't know. I'm not particularly wanting to sell my book, but I'm gonna have some games and stuff where I'm giving my book away to my family. So I don't know. We're gonna have some fun, but um, there's a lot of things that folks need to know about some of these changes, and we've got so many distractions. In fact, I was looking for my distractions quote, and that was what I was supposed to do this morning. But like I said, my computer system just decided to go haywire this morning. But I'm glad I was even able to get on. But if you all have any questions or anything that you want to know, not necessarily about the cryptocurrencies that are out there, because there is so much stuff going on. I just want our community to err on the side of caution and really just focus on Bitcoin as your staple. Just like in your house, you have a staple product and then everything else is extra. Absolutely do that, but make sure that your staple is in place, and that's your Bitcoin. So we're going to get into this. And I think I got another 30 seconds. Thank you, sir. I heard you. Um, we're on in about 30 seconds. So we're going to jump into what we're talking about. And so this is going to be very, very interesting. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting back in. All right, welcome forward, welcome forward. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me just give you this quote, because I said there's a lot of distractions out there, and there are. We've got all the things that have happened this last week, which is really tiring, and wars and things that we are talking about, and so you'll get that on some of the other shows. But we're going to stick to the money. But I'm going to tell you this: these obstacles and distractions are real, and we get away from what we need to be doing as a community. And I want to make sure that our community is not getting away from the things that they need to be doing. The distractions are going to be there wherever you look, however you move. There are going to be distractions. And so we have one goal, ladies and gentlemen, one goal only, and that is to arrive on the other side of money unscathed. And we have to. Our lives depend on it. And so I found a quote that says, by prevailing over all obstacles and distractions, one may unfailingly arrive at his chosen goal or destination. And our chosen goal or destination should be closing the wealth gap and having enough money somewhere to be able to pass or transition and leave money to our children's children. That means the children are good, but you're able to have enough to go to the children's children. And the only way we're going to be able to do that, ladies and gentlemen, in my humble opinion, is not having it all in the stock market, not all having it all in houses, but diversifying your portfolio, because we don't know what is going on and how it's going on. So I'm just going to say, ladies and gentlemen, we have to continue to have an open mind and diversify, because we are in some real uncharted waters. And I don't care what guru you are listening to. Sometimes I just want to scream when people say, oh, the stock market is going to do great during this time. We don't know what the heck is going to happen, because that's controlled by someone else. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we really have to get into this self sovereignty space. But let me just tell you, let's get back on track, because there is a lot going on with money. Paper checks are definitely going away as it relates to the federal government, and they are phasing out paper checks. And that is going to happen, rain, sleet, or snow, September 30th, 2025. Now, what does that mean? They are going to cease issuing paper checks for all disbursements, including intergovernmental payments, benefits. If you're a vendor with the federal government, you'll no longer get a paper check. If you get your tax refund in the mail, you'll no longer get that. Hopefully, you all are doing direct deposit if you're getting anything back. All the executive departments and agencies must transition to a more modern system, and they're going to use EFT. And that's direct deposit, debit or credit cards, and payments and digital wallets. And I will say that again, digital wallets and real time transfers. And so the government is really looking to make sure that the payments made to the federal government, such as fees and fines and loans and taxes, must also be processed electronically, where it didn't used to be that way. And so they've got to do a little bit of tweaking of laws. But as you all have seen here lately, they're going to tweak some things very quickly. And so they're going to make sure that they are keeping track of monies going in and money going out. Again, not saying that, this hasn't been going on already. And I'm talking about the fraud and things like that, because it has. But what moving this digitally is going to be able to do is help them better pay attention to who has what and where stuff is going. And so there's two sides to this, but the Treasury is going to phase out what they call a physical lockbox services, and they're going to expedite electronic collection of federal receipts. And that means, again, more, not that they're going to be transparent with us. So let's make no mistake about it. They're not going to be transparent with us. But what is transparent is cryptocurrencies, but we're not quite there yet. And if they have a central bank digital currency, when they do, that's not going to be transparent either. But when we're talking about decentralized finances, we can get transparent. The public can look and see what transactions are happening and where things are going. And so that is why we are continuing to just really harp about getting yourself self-sovereign, but also getting into the digital space and being able to understand how to navigate in these digital streets, right? So you need to get good working your cell phone. So when I started this show, I talked about not just you, but your aunts and your uncles and your grandparents, you really, and your parents for that matter. We have really got to do a better job of bringing our family and friends into this digital space, because this is not at all a joke, because there's so much to learn. And I'm constantly, even yesterday at my family reunion, I was hearing some of my elders say, you know what, I'm not with that digital stuff. I'm not good with my phone. I just don't even want to learn. I'm at an age where I'm not even trying to pay attention, but they're going to have to pay attention, and they're going to have to have people like yourselves, those of you that are listening to this show, to really help them navigate because things are changing. And those are just some of the little tweaks that you can absolutely make, which is setting them up maybe a prepaid card or a place where their social security checks can come, because the checks are not coming in the mail September 30th. That is a done data, as we say, it's over. So they said temporarily that exceptions are going to be made for people without banking or electronic payment access, but they're going to force you to utilize their system, and they're going to force you relatively quickly. Now, how this is at a disadvantage to those that are in my community, we may go to something like a green dot, or we may go to Walgreens. I think it's Walgreens, where you can get a prepaid card. Those cards charge you for use of them monthly. And this is going to line the pockets of other folks and not in our community. And those $5 matter to some folks that are hungry, are really trying to make ends meet. So what we need to do is make sure that we're using methods to get those types of payments in: social security disability, all of those things. You need to be using a bank account that doesn't have any fees. And I hate to use banks, but banks that don't have any fees. But also, if you're going to be using a debit card or a prepaid card, make sure, ladies and gentlemen, they're not taking $5 a month from your aunt or your uncle or your grandmother, your mother, father. Please make sure that you're not using those, because at the end of the year, all of that adds up. If they're just taking $50, that's $60 that somebody, if they're just taking $5, excuse me, that's $60 a year that your loved one could have utilized for something else, like eggs or cheese or something like that. And so this is a big deal that um, that President Trump has mandated that September 30th, there will be no more digital, there will be no more physical checks being sent out in the mail. This executive order does not establish a central bank digital currency. In fact, he pushed back on that. This is all about the central bank digital currency. In fact, he pushed back on that and said that this is all about the central bank digital currency. He said little by little, by little, and then all at once. So this is giving us an opportunity to really get our stuff together. And so what I do see is, as a benefit, is these paper-based payments, ladies and gentlemen, um, have been at risk of fraud. And this kind of almost a null point when digital things are just being attacked. So we're going to talk about those as well. But checks that come in the mail are 16 times more likely to be reported lost or stolen. And a lot of them return undeliverable, or they are altered, right? People are able to take a paper check and they're able to copy it, go cash it, do what do I mean, and that's always been around, but they're saying in the last year or two it has gotten worse, to the tune of $657 million that people have reported lost or stolen. That's a lot of money. And so digital payments are more efficient. We know that. And they cost less. You don't have to put a stamp on it. You don't have to mail it. You don't need the mail carrier, which makes me take another look at the folks that may be out of work, because these millions and millions of checks are not going to be distributed every single month. But I guess bills are still going to come. So the post office will still be in business, right? But Fraud is real, and I want to make no mistake about that. I don't want anybody to think that fraud is going to go away because it's not. And this is a topic for a whole nother story, a whole nother show, a whole nother story, because the fraud is getting thick and heavy. Not in the cryptocurrency space, it is already, but I'm talking about the regular money space. There are so many scams that are happening. You need to be careful. And so when we are looking at all of these things and wondering how we need to help our community, we just need to understand that they've got to start setting up direct deposit. If you have not already done so, do that. Get used to it. It's going to take 30 to 45 days for your bank to even set up the direct deposit and make sure that the money is coming in, because the checks are going to stop again September 30th. And so this is really a time to get our house in order. The fact that Trump put a halt to central bank digital currencies by signing an executive order, it's giving us some time, ladies and gentlemen. He's actually buying us sometimes. And so he's buying us sometimes, but again, I always ask myself, why? Why did he stop central bank digital currencies when this will allow them to have full control of the money? I believe that they're trying to get the privacy risks together, and they're trying to figure out how they can participate in governmental overreach. This is just my opinion, because I'm watching and I'm listening and I'm wondering, why would he hold on that? And he's holding is going to definitely benefit him in some shape, form, or fashion. But how can we make this benefit us? And right now is go time. And so when September 2025 comes, the shift of phasing out paper checks and social security checks and not doing a central bank digital currency right now, it is really to our advantage that we have this little breath to be able to sit back and say, okay, what monies do I have coming in that come from the federal government? Because a lot of people are over the age of 62 or 65 whenever you start drawing your Social Security or Social Security disability. If you're younger, you want to make sure that you're set up properly. The bottom line, if you're getting any federal benefits, you still need to switch to these electronic payments. I would not trust the fact that they're saying, if you don't have a bank account, if you don't have a digital wallet or direct deposit or any of those things, don't worry about it. We'll make sure that you get your money. Ladies and gentlemen, you'll probably be 60 to 90 days waiting on them to send you something that President Trump has said no more physical checks. And why would you put yourself in that situation? Why would you allow your family to put themselves in that situation? And so a lot of us don't have the types of relationships with our family members that we can say, hey, are you still getting a check in the mail? But this is the time, ladies and gentlemen, that you need to start asking. You call Auntie Nim and say, hey, I know that you're of age to be getting Social Security. Are you getting direct deposit? And if not, help them, because this is going to be a catastrophe for a lot of people in our community, because nobody's paying attention, because there's so many other distractions happening. When that check doesn't show up on the 3rd when it's supposed to, a lot of people are going to be in absolute chaotic disarray. And if it takes your aunt a month and a half to get her check, can you imagine what she's going to do for food or try to pay her light bills that's already a month behind? Like, there are so many implications of things that could go wrong if we don't know. But please, ladies and gentlemen, understand that this is happening. There's no rolling this back. If you have any money questions or things like that, you can drop me a line, and I'm going to continue to make sure that our community is staying informed, staying savvy and making sure that we have things in order because everything matters. These distractions, ladies and gentlemen, are real, and we've got to get ourselves together. So, with that, I want to say thank you to just to everybody that's reached out this week about this, saying, "Hey, central bank digital currencies are starting September 30th," because that's not what it is. We will come forward after news, sports, and traffic. This is Naja Roberts on Ahead of the Crypto Curve. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't see my time. I'm at the bottom of the hour. We got so many things. Yeah, let me see. We've got a lot going on. I don't know if there's any questions. Oh, I see comments. So hold on. Let's see. Hello, hello. Happy Sunday. Ray, Marion, Rumi. Hello, hello. So yeah, we are let's see. We got a lot going on. Trying to see where we are. We're at 105,000 with Bitcoin. I'm gonna have to go over this again. It's on my commercial break, but if anybody has any questions, yes. All right. Welcome forward. Welcome forward. Welcome forward. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to just kind of wrap up the end of what we are talking about. Um, we are going to expect nothing to change until September 30th, 2025. You need to make sure that all of your family is aware. If you're getting any federal benefits, and those federal benefits are coming via check, you will not, or they will not be receiving them. The other thing is if you are sending any type of tax payment that you owe, anything like that, it is going to have to be digital, which means they're going to have access to know what bank accounts you have open and where that money is actually coming from. Not that you're hiding anything, but they're going to have direct access if you're paying taxes and you're inputting your information in conjunction with theirs in order to get money from one point to the next. A lot of this, ladies and gentlemen, is about control of funds. And this is just one of many things that are going to come down the pipe. They're going to modernize through fintech partnerships. And so you're going to continuously hear uh, people like Venmo, PayPal, Cash App that are working alongside of the federal government to do reporting to make sure that you are putting your monies where they need you to put them and transferring where they need you to transfer seamlessly, but still them having control over where and how you spend money. And so just watch that. One of the things that they are professing that this is going to help is reduce the strain on our postal system. And so moving everything online eases up United States Postal Services, and it saves some of the post offices and helps some of the workers. I have a couple of cousins that are mail carriers, and they report that their customers that are in rural areas are still doing everything via check. They're doing everything, paying their bills still with checks and things of that sort. And so we got to get on top of that. top of this. So, prepaid cards again may not be the greatest thing. The benefits, which are the advantages, is um, we are going to save millions of dollars as a country, not printing paper. And I want to say again, little by little by little, all at once, because this is soon going to be, we will one day be talking about the dollar. It will not be continue to be printed, but we're not there yet. But these checks are just a step forward. We're going to get faster payments, and this is the benefit and advantage of doing direct deposit. Greater security against lost or stolen checks, and that's what a lot of my cousins always talk about. How they, are on their mail route and they close and lock their doors, and by the time they get back, the door's been pried open, and all the mail is missing. They don't just take the checks, they take the bills too, because they got to go through the mail. So this is going to protect against that. um, and also, again, is going to improve their digital records of what we have, and make it easy to audit everybody. And I just I think the biggest disadvantage that I see is that if people are using prepaid debit options for access to those federal funds, they're going to be charged for it. And so we've got to just figure out how to get our community around that. And so move to digital payments and just make sure that you are looking to help your family, not just yourself, modernize our efforts. And it's not just about cutting costs right now, it's about making sure that you're safe and secure, and that they're starting to really be able to open up their phones and see the direct deposit coming in, and really checking transactions that are coming out. If you are in and around a check cashing business, ladies and gentlemen, can you imagine what is, if you've invested in stocks of things like not TransUnion, that's for credit. Um, I can't even think right now, but MoneyGram, um, those types of companies, September 30th, are going to have way less business because they thrive on taking 10% from people's tax return checks and checks that come from the government around tax time. And so if you've invested in some of these companies, Western Union, that's what I was trying to think. Western Union, MoneyGram, they all are inside of Walmart. They're cash and checks. They'll allow you to even get a direct deposit during that time, as onto some of their cards and things like that. Be very careful of those fees. But also, ladies and gentlemen, with this transition from physical checks to digital, is going to transfer those folks that say, oh my goodness, I can no longer make money by getting these checks and doing something with these checks. They're going to have to move to the digital space, which means you're going to have 3 to 4 times more fraudsters going that direction, because they've got to figure out how to get into those accounts, how to hack those accounts, because it's just cutting off their different ways that they can make fraudulent money. And so with anything, there's going to be people doing fraud. But just think about this. This one has been a cash cow for many people for many years. And I know that there are more good people out there than there are fraudsters. But all of those fraudsters are going to start to have to pay more attention to the digital space, because now you've got direct deposit. So I'm going to tell you all, like I tell my mother and my elders that are in my family, if you pick up the phone and somebody is asking you anything that you did not call and solicit them to call about, just hang up. Just hang up. Just like you don't have to open your door when, I shouldn't say this, when people come to your door, if they don't have a search warrant, you don't even have to open the door. And that's something that our community really needs to understand. You don't have to take a phone call. You don't have to respond to a text message. Delete it. Send them to voicemail. You're going to have to do that more. And while I'm thinking about it, because we're going to have to do a whole show on scam, just this week, I was going into my bank account. I was making a phone call to my bank, and they asked me if I wanted to participate in voice recognition. But, ladies and gentlemen, I opted out of that. And I'm going to tell you why I opted out of that. Because they want you to say the word yes, right? So if somebody calls you and they say, "Hi, is this Naja Roberts?" and you say, "Yes, may I help you?" Guess what they're able to do? They're able to record that yes, and then they're able to access your bank account or the first layer of security in your bank account when the bank asks you, is this Naja Roberts? Yes, they've got it voice recorded, right? There's so many things that you got to be thinking about beyond what is right in front of you or what you're hearing. Do not answer those calls, number one. Send them to voicemail. One of my favorite responses is, "I can't text, but I can talk." If I don't know the number and I know I need to answer the phone, if sometimes I may take some chances, but for the most part, I'm responding. I cannot talk, I can text. And if it's somebody real, they'll text you back and say, "Hey, this is so and so, and I was trying to get in contact with you about this." But most of those are right now are scammers. They're trying to get you to pay toll road bills. And I mean, it's coming fast and furious. And these phone calls, everything is just interconnected. And so we've got to think of all of these things. And I know it's a lot. And I know it's a lot for our seniors. But the biggest thing we've got to do is get started and get familiar with things, doing it over and over and over again, checking your bank accounts online, and getting, that's going to be another thing, getting rid of the paper statements. A lot of that stuff, people are able to still get into your mail, still reconciliate things so that they know enough information about you when they call you that you're going to vouch for. Yeah, last month I did go to Home Depot, because they had a bank statement or something that they saw where you're shopping. And so a lot of pieces of the puzzle that people are able to put together come through physical paper. And so if you can do better with all of your finances becoming more digital and not paper, it's going to really benefit you a lot. And I know it's a big step. September 30th is going to be here real quick, but we've really got to start making those adjustments. And so I'm hoping that our community is really understanding what that looks like, and what we need to be doing. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we will continue the conversation. We're going to talk about some of the things that are happening with the cryptocurrency space, and owning that one Bitcoin. That's our goal. The distractions are out there, but owning that one Bitcoin should be the new American dream. When we come forward, we'll continue. Excuse me, you all. Trying to not cough with my and get my engineer to take me to break. Ugh. All right, folks. No, you're good. I was trying to prep you because I was coughing. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me see. I'm looking at questions. Talking. I had a longer. Oh, okay. was like, why is it? I forgot I can't had to come back in early today. But I'm glad y'all here with me. You get to see what it kind of happens behind the scene sometimes. So we are I'm on a commercial break, so got a weird commercial in my ear. All right, we're gonna look at these prices today. We are got unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize. I'm not able to see the comments. I'm not sure what's happening. If I'm freezing up, what's today? All right.